From actors with strange fetishes to untimely deaths shrouded in mystery, here are 10 filthy rumors from the golden age of Hollywood. And this one is sure to make you raise your eyebrows. 10. Charles Laughton, Facey's Sandwich. You see, actor Charles Laughton had a unique taste when it came to his sandwiches, or should we say, his sandwich fixings. According to Scotty Bowers, a former pimp and self-proclaimed Hollywood fixer, Laughton had a feces fetish. Bowers revealed in his memoir that Laughton once asked him to bring a young man to his home while his wife was away. No, it involved something even more bizarre, making a sandwich with unconventional ingredients. Laughton started by slicing some sourdough bread and adding lettuce, tomatoes, lemon juice, salt and pepper. This seems like a pretty standard sandwich so far, right? But then he took it to the next level by adding a generous serving of feces from the young man, lettuce. He put on the poo and served it to himself. This sandwich is definitely not for the faint of heart. But that's not all. According to Bowers, Laughton even offered him a bite and claimed it was one of the best sandwiches he had ever tasted. Now we know why they say, don't knock it till you try it. But you know what? Isn't not even that bizarre compared to our next filthy rumor. 9. Ronald Reagan's lust for young virgins. Ronald Reagan may have been a beloved president, but his time in Hollywood was not without its scandals. One of the most shocking rumors about him comes from his co-star Piper Laurie, who claimed that he had a penchant for young virgins. In her autobiography, Laurie describes an encounter with Reagan during the filming of Louisa, where he portrayed her father. She was only 18 at the time, and Reagan was 39, but he reportedly asked Laurie's mother for permission to date her daughter. However, their first date did not go as expected. Instead of a lavish outing, Reagan took them back to his home for a simple meal. But things took an unexpected turn when he led Laurie to his bedroom, boasting about the length of time he had already been erect and even criticizing her when she expressed dissatisfaction. She described it as her first romantic experience, and while she initially found him charming, she soon realized that he was more interested in his own pleasure than hers. This encounter may paint a less favorable image of Reagan, but compared to our next filthy rumor, it's nothing. 8. Ramon Novarro's black Rudolph Valentino dildo. You see, both Ramon Novarro and Rudolph Valentino were well-known leading men of the 1920s, famous for their roles as dashing young romantics in films like Mata Hari and The Son of the Sheikh. Both actors were also known for their good looks and charm, quickly earning them the titles of the Latin lovers. But it was not just their on-screen charisma that caught the public's attention. Rumors began to swirl that Novarro and Valentino were actually homosexual. While the rumors were true for Novarro, it was not the case for Valentino. However, this didn't stop the tabloids from linking the two actors as lovers. One particularly scandalous rumor claimed that Valentino had gifted Novarro with an Art Deco model of his own penis. According to reports, Novarro kept the dildo on his nightstand and even showed it off to friends during parties. But unfortunately, what started as a cheeky gift between friends would later turn into a graphic tragedy. In 1968, Novarro was brutally murdered in his Los Angeles ranch house by two petty criminals looking for a quick cash grab. And according to reports, one of the most widely accepted details of the case is that the murderers shoved Valentino's black dildo down Novarro's throat, causing him to choke on. It's a gruesome and tragic end to an already scandalous rumor. 7. Olive Thomas's syphilis medication suicide pills. You see, not every scandal in Hollywood revolves around kinky fetishes or gifts that take personal to a whole new level. Sometimes they are a lot darker and sadder, just like the story of Olive Thomas. A stunning silent film star, she's remembered more for her tragic end than her acting prowess. In the early 20th century, Olive was married to Jack Pickford, the younger brother of actress Mary Pickford, and boy, was their marriage a roller coaster ride. From Jack's infidelities to his embarrassing military discharge, drama followed them like a shadow. But the real tragedy struck in 1920 when they were on a second honeymoon. One night, after a late return to their hotel, Jack reported that Olive had overdosed on her medication. And here's where it gets grisly. The medication was none other than bichloride of mercury, commonly used for treating syphilis back in the day. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some whispered that Olive had committed suicide with Jack's prescription after discovering that he had given her syphilis. Others claimed Jack had poisoned her for a life insurance payout. Despite the accusations, her death was ruled accidental. But to this day, the whispers continue, and the mystery surrounding Olive's death remains unsolved. 6. Joan Crawford's under-the-table life. Now, if you thought that was dark and surprising, just wait until you hear about this next rumor. Trust me, it's a doozy. You've probably heard of Joan Crawford, right? She was the epitome of a glamorous silver screen icon. Always pictured immaculately dressed, holding a cigarette or a drink in one gloved hand, she was the dream of many. But you know what they say about dreams, they often hide a much darker reality. Joan's father was a common laborer from Texas who left the family shortly after her birth. She then moved to Lawton, Oklahoma with her mother, who remarried a man who ran the local opera house. Now, here's where things get dicey. Word on the street is that her stepfather, Henry Casson, was sexually involved with Joan when she was only 11 years old. Once discovered, it led Joan's mother to end the marriage. Years later, the family moved again, this time to Kansas City. And this is when the rumors get even filthier. Rumor has it that Joan, as a teenager, had poor hygiene which resulted in her spreading crabs around Kansas City. This later led to her obsession with cleanliness when she reached Hollywood. Of course, she would obsess over cleanliness considering what had happened in her past, but still, it's not as insane as what happened with our rumor queen, Jeanette MacDonald. 5. Jeanette MacDonald's forced abortion. The love triangle between Louis B. Mayer, Jeanette MacDonald, and Nelson Eddy is tragic, complicated, and mired in mystery, but one particularly nasty rumor about it spread around Hollywood for years. According to the story, Mayer forced MacDonald to have an abortion when he found out she was pregnant with Eddy's baby. Nelson Eddy and Jeanette MacDonald were both stars for MGM back in the days of the studio system, which kept actors and other creative personnel bound by tight contracts. Louis B. Mayer, the big shot head honcho of MGM, didn't exactly win any awards for Boss of the Year. Mayer, infamous for his tyrannical rule, was the puppet master who orchestrated the careers of MacDonald and Eddy. He was the one pulling the strings, casting them in all of those toe-tapping musicals that made MGM the big bucks. MacDonald and Eddy, our singing sweethearts, weren't just making beautiful music on screen, they were also head over heels in love off screen. And Mayer? Well, he was none too pleased about it. In the merry summer of 1935, love was in the air, and MacDonald found out she was expecting little Eddy's baby. But instead of joy, this news brought a storm of trouble. Mayer, fearing the impact on their lucrative careers, did the unthinkable. He told MacDonald that if she didn't abort the baby, he would drop a career-ending bombshell and blacklist both her and Eddy from the industry. Rumor has it that poor MacDonald lost the baby, leaving both Eddy and Mayer assuming she had bowed to Mayer's threats. The aftermath was heartbreaking. Eddy ended his relationship with MacDonald, while Mayer, seemingly uncaring, continued to exploit MacDonald's talent for the studio's gain. Even the lovebirds never got back together, and Mayer made sure they never would. And this is not the first time someone has been targeted. 4. George Cukor's dirt on Clark. George Cukor, the original director of the iconic film, Gone with the Wind, was unceremoniously fired from the set before the cameras even started rolling by one and only Clark Gable, the film's leading man. Now, why would Gable, known for his suave and charming on-screen persona, do such a thing? Let's just say there were rumors about a secret that Gable was desperate to bury, and Cukor knew all too well. Cukor allegedly knew about a scandalous affair between Gable and silent movie actor William Haynes from back in the day when Gable was a struggling actor. Gable was afraid that Cukor might spill this secret, tarnishing his macho image. So, Gable did what he had to do to protect his reputation. He had Cukor kicked off the set. Cukor seems to have had his fair share of secrets, as he was also rumored to be gay himself. But in those times, being openly gay in Hollywood could mean the end of one's career. Cukor continued to work and direct acclaimed films, but his firing from Gone with the Wind remains a dark and mysterious chapter in Hollywood's history. 3. Tony Richardson and Linda Lovelace's oral sex presentation. This one came straight from the mouth of Hollywood pimp Scotty Bowers. So, back in the swinging 60s, there was this famous director named Tony Richardson. He got totally smitten by none other than the legendary porn star Linda Lovelace after her groundbreaking flick, Deep Throat, hit the screens. Tony was so intrigued by Linda's talent for fellatio that he asked Scotty to set up a meeting with her. Well, the meeting happened, and Tony shelled out a pretty penny to have Linda perform at a party he threw for some of gay Hollywood's big shots. So, in the party, Linda brought along a massive latex dildo to showcase her skills, and some bold guests even approached her afterwards for some tips and tricks. And a few days later, at one of Scotty's cocktail parties in Beverly Hills, he spilled the beans about Tony's secret. 2. William Desmond Taylor murder. The murder of this famous director guy, William Desmond Taylor, is like one of those never-ending Hollywood mysteries. There were all sorts of rumors floating around about who might have done the dirty deed. One theory that's got people buzzing is that it was some mob hitman. Now, let's get to the facts, plain and simple. On February 1st, 1921, Taylor was hanging out with his girlfriend, this comedian named Mabel Normand. They said their goodbyes around 7:45 p.m., and the next morning, his valet found Taylor's body with a bullet in his back. You won't believe the suspects in this case. The LAPD and those gossip columnists were pointing fingers left and right. They even accused Mabel Normand herself. They caught her snooping around Taylor's stuff at the crime scene. And get this, they found some blonde hairs on Taylor's jacket that matched Mary Miles Minter's hair. Turns out, she was some young actress who was like super in love with Taylor and might have been jealous of Mabel. Then there's this other suspect, Edward Sands, who used to work for Taylor. He stole a bunch of money from him and was stalking him at the time of the murder. But here's where it gets interesting. There are rumors that Taylor's murder was a hit job by some mobster. Apparently, Taylor had been trying to take down the drug racket in Hollywood, and these mob guys weren't too happy about it. They were making big bucks selling drugs near movie studios, and Taylor snitched on them to the FBI. Some say this betrayal is what caused them to go after him. It's tough to tell what really happened, considering all the rumors and gossip surrounding this case. 1. Clara Bow's orgies, affairs, and bestiality. Clara Bow, the darling of the Roaring Twenties, the original it girl of Hollywood, had it all: beauty, talent, fame, and legions of adoring fans. But before long, rumors began to circulate about Bow's private life, and it wasn't pretty. It all started when Clara's secretary, Daisy DeVoe, up and quit after a heated spat, taking with her a trove of Clara's personal documents. Daisy tried her hand at blackmail, but Clara wasn't having any of it. She called the cops and took Daisy to court, a move that turned out to be a colossal backfire. At the trial, all of Clara's private affairs became public knowledge, and the rumors just kept piling up. The tabloids had a field day with claims that Clara was an alcoholic, drug abuser, gambler, and even claimed she had sex in public and held orgies for the USC football team. But the biggest shocker was probably when it came out that Clara had been involved with a married doctor, leading to accusations of alienation of affection in the couple's divorce. Although most of these rumors were not entirely true, they were enough for Paramount to cancel her contract and damage her reputation beyond repair. Poor Clara, the original It Girl, was forced into anonymity, all due to scandalous rumors that may have been exaggerated. It just goes to show how powerful and damaging gossip can be in the world of Hollywood. If you liked this video, make sure to watch the other videos in the end screen about beautiful ladies of yesteryear of old Hollywood.